All right, I want to welcome you back to the 11.5, making inferences from sample surveys. Estimating population parameters. The study of statistics has two major branches of statistics. They're the descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics involves the organization, summation, and display of the data. Basically, what you're taking is your data analysis. Whatever you come up with is that you're using for your statistics, and you're just organizing it. You're just showing them what you got. Inferential statistics involves the using a sample to draw a conclusion about the population. You can use statistics to make reasonable predictions or inferences about an entire population when a sample is representative of the population. So again, inferential statistics is basically taking the data and then making a conclusion. Descriptive statistics is basically just describing what you got. The numbers of a friend of random sample of 40 teen users of social networking websites are shown in the table. Estimate the population mean. So again, there's 40 numbers here. So again, you might want to hit pause, take a few minutes, and you're going to find the average. Remember, this symbol means average. So add them all up and divide by how many they are. So you want to hit pause for a second. All right, welcome back. The average should have been 299.15. Not every random sample results in the same estimate of population parameter. There will be some sampling variability. Larger the sample size tends to produce the more accurate estimate. So the more people you talk to, again, if you talk to 10 people and then look at the data and make an inference, versus if you talk to 1,000 people and look at the data and make an inference. With that being said, a cafeteria manager wants to predict the number of chicken sandwiches that will be sold when they have to choose between chicken and turkey. 7 cafeterias work to conduct the survey, selected randomly. Students are asked whether or not they buy chicken sandwiches. The results are shown. So if you looked at just the first two, so just the sample size is fairly small. They only talked to 18 people in those two, but 13 of which said they liked the chicken sandwich. So if I were just looking at those two small sample sizes, you would say about 72.2% like the chicken sandwich, and therefore the chicken sandwich would be the most popular choice. Again, not so fast. You got to be careful on your sample sizes. So if I then looked at the exact same survey, but instead of looking at the first two, I looked at the larger ones down here, 160 and 200. Well, of those, 168 out of the 360 surveyed are only 46.7% of the population of the people in the cafeteria like the chicken sandwich. So again, less people like the chicken sandwich when you start looking at the more people. So the small sample size up here in the beginning was too small to really make an inference. But again, when you start looking at some of the larger ones down here, all of a sudden you would say the turkey sandwich would be the better option at this particular cafeteria. When conducting a survey, you need to make the size of your sample large enough so that you can do some accurate representation of the population. As the sample size increases, the margin of error decreases. The margin of error gives the limit on how much responses of the sample would differ from the responses of the population. For example, 40% of the people in a poll favor a new tax law, and the margin of error is plus or minus 4%. It's likely then between 36 and 44%. So a lot of times when you watch a commercial in the bottom right-hand corner or off to the side, you'll see margin of error, meaning as they were taking their survey, they are giving you the data that they got. But because they didn't talk to everybody, that means there's an error of, in this case, plus or minus 4%. So the equation that we will use for our margin of error is going to be plus or minus 1 over the square root of n. The n is the size of your sample, or how many people you talk to. This will be given if and when we take the test. So if we take the test, you will be given this particular formula. So here's the situation. In a survey of 2,048 people in the U.S., 55% said television was their main source of news. So what is the margin of error? plus or minus 1 over the square root of n. So there's 2,048 people that they spoke to. With that being said, that means it's a plus or minus 2.2%. So you take 1 divided by the square root of 2,048, you get 0.022, which is about a plus or minus 2.2%. Give the actual interval then of the people that use television as their main source of news. So if 55% use television as their main source of news, then realistically speaking, 52.8% subtracting 2.2 or 57.2% adding 2.2 is the actual range of a percent that you actually should expect people to watch the news. Homework assignment, it's a fairly short lesson. Page 630. Again, you can get the PDF on Google Classroom, or you could use your book on page 630. Again, as I said in the previous one, be safe, be healthy, and if you have any questions, make sure to talk to myself or Ms. Kinsel.